Hi, I'm a tattoo artist, and today I want to chit-chat with you about all sorts of different things. These things are related to my existence, my career, and the 5 years that I have been tattooing. So do note, not everyone's had these experiences. There's all sorts of different places on the planet, and all sorts of laws and regulations, and those are very different. Everyone has a different lived experience. So, with that in mind, these are the things that I have noticed that are inconveniences as a tattoo artist that you may or may not have, and more or less these are things to chit-chat with a fellow artist about, as well as maybe if you're looking into the tattoo community, maybe you want a tattoo in the future, these could be valuable things for you to be aware of depending on where you are or who you are or what you want to do. So that's why I more or less want to chat about this, and that's why we're here right now. I've got a little book, I've got my yerba mate. Note, I'm very careful with these because it has 150 milligrams of caffeine, so I'm going to have maybe a little bit more and then I'm going to be done for the day, bring this back tomorrow, A reason for this is caffeine for me definitely makes me shaky, so I have to be very careful with it, especially on days that I tattoo. Today, I want to sleep at some point, so I don't want to have too much, but I do not plan to have any more tattoos in the future. As of today, it'll be tomorrow that I tattoo like all day, so I want to make sure I can sleep. But we have this. We got water, because water is good for you. We've got all of my notes that we are going to be talking about today. So, thanks for being around. I really appreciate it. Let's go. So, number one is healthcare. Healthcare entirely, insurance, and all of that jazz. Let's talk about it. As a tattooer, especially in Utah, and especially as a person that is not married, I don't have insurance aside from myself. So, I have to have my own insurance. It can be very, very expensive. Mine is very, very expensive, and it's also not great. I have run into tons of issues being a self-employed individual, whereas I've needed to get extra referrals because I'm a 1099 and I need all these other extra things, or I need to do more to finally get something because I'm an independent individual. I've got the old select value, select health. So, nonetheless, healthcare is really, really weird as a tattooer. It can be so expensive for people because a lot of people have to be independent. A lot of jobs tend to have, if you're doing a full-time, you're going to get healthcare for the most part, or you get some type of benefits sometimes. Tattooing I have never heard of that being a thing. I imagine it is absolutely possible depending on who owns the shop or how they do it. But I've never been in a situation where I have been given any type of health care because of my job. Because I do my job, I make the money, and I give a certain amount of it to the shop. Everything goes through me. It's not like I'm getting a paycheck. With that said, too, getting money every day or every day that I'm tattooing can be very, very helpful. But that is a different type of inconvenience for certain people to get money every day. And sometimes that can be hard to, make sure you budget for things like healthcare, because we don't just get that taken out because of our job or, that type of thing. So healthcare can be really, really weird as a tattooer, is more or less what I'm saying. Number two. So, for me, preface, I have a lot of health issues, but health-wise, tattooing is very weird. That is number two. Let's get into it. So again, to preface, I have all sorts of weird little healthy issues, unhealthy things rather, I guess. So I've got some messed up back problems and all sorts of stuff that I already had previously to tattooing. So do note that. However, I've absolutely had all sorts of weird little issues like most tattooers do at some point at the least. Issues with my wrist, issues with my hands, issues with my forearms, and everyone's always talked about the really messed up shrimp spine type of deal. With that said, that can run a lot of issues, a lot of risks. It can be harder to tattoo. It can hurt so much more to tattoo. To do your job, it can be a lot harder to enjoy it when you're in so much pain. Unfortunately, it is a given, though. Doing our job, it is very laborious. There is a lot that goes into it, and unfortunately, karma, in a way, I suppose, is we're hurting people every single day. We gotta get it at least a little bit back. So, hence, our back is messed up most of the time. Our necks are messed up. We can have hip issues. I hear from a lot of people, pelvic floor dysfunction, all sorts of different stuff, because we're sitting in weird positions all day long. With that said, I have to be very careful about what I choose and choose not to do every day. So, people have asked me even last year, they said hey, do you want to go ice skating? For me, I would rather not take that risk, very honestly, because I am ass at ice skating, so I know I would easily fall and I could very easily break an arm or a wrist or something of the like. Don't want to do that. I don't want to risk it, so I will not go. I do not have tons and tons of money, so I'm not a person that has been able to ski in the past or snowboard or anything of the like. If you know, Utah is kind of the best place on the planet for it. Just gotta say. Not like I feel so cool about that because I've literally never done it before, but nonetheless, we have the best snow on earth. With that said, skiing, snowboarding, all of these things are very, very dangerous. I know a ton of tattooers that are willing to go out and do that, and that's fine. If you want to risk it, fantastic, do your thing. But for me, I'm not going to risk that because I want to make sure that my stuff is safe and that I feel okay and that my wrists are fine and that my ACLs are in place, my MCLs are fine. I still have meniscus and I'd love to keep it that way. So for me, I choose not to do those things. I myself am a martial artist. I am attempting to go back and do that. My health has been bad enough where I can't really do that at the moment, but I do wish to go back. When I was going back a lot of last year, it was lovely and fantastic, but I chose not to do specific things because I have to be careful, that being mainly sparring. Sparring is where I have had concussions in the past and had all sorts of different issues. That's where I've gotten a majority of my kind of lingering injuries. So with that said, that is something I'm very careful about. Sparring? Nope, not going to do it. I don't think it's going to be worth it to risk it. With that said as well, grappling, doing stuff on the ground, judo type of things. On the ground grappling can be fantastic and very, very helpful. 70% of fights go to the ground. You want to know how to grapple. I do too. I really want to know how to grapple. But I'm very, very careful with it. When I feel someone grabbing me and there's a little too far, I'm going to tap. Even if it's really, really quick, even if it doesn't hurt, I'm still not going to risk it because if they go a little farther and I don't tap and something is just not so warmed up, say in my arms or my legs, especially my arms would be the most concerning, I don't want to risk something getting pulled or something actually having a significant enough issue to have it to get surgery. Something like surgery, especially on my arms or my torso somewhere or my neck, that would be a really, really big deal for my job. I would have to be out for a very, very long time. I can't tattoo people with tons of injuries. That's not a good thing. That is very sketchy. So I have to not do certain things. I have to forfeit from certain activities because for me, I want to make sure that I'm safe and that I can continue to do my job, not just because I love it so much, but because it is my job, and unfortunately, sometimes you gotta make sure you live, especially in this economy, so I don't want to get injured. I don't want to get hurted. Isn't that fair? I think. So, mainly to piggyback on a couple of the other things we were talking about, but number 3 is keeping up on your health. For us, it's going to be a lot more expensive sometimes because we just have to do it so often. We have to make sure we have all the right equipment and all the things to make sure we've got all the silly roller balls and whatever so we can get those knots in our back and can continue going. If our backs are messed up for too long, that stuff will calcify and you can't really move it so easily. So we have to keep up on those things to make sure we don't have further issues. I would rather make sure that my forearms are good and really work out things and try to get my wrists in better shape now so that I don't have to get carpal tunnel surgery. Those types of things. We have to keep up on a whole lot of stuff to make sure that we can keep going. So, number 4, also to piggyback on that, is this is just a very laborious job. It's very laborious. There's a lot of stuff we have to do, and it really kind of hurts sometimes. Things get really, really tense. We have to hold our machines for super, super long. Something to note, too, is it's a vibrating tool that can give us carpal tunnel a lot quicker than a lot of other things because of the vibration. There's a lot that goes into tattooing. It can be hard. It can hurt. There's all sorts of weird positions we have to be in, and it's just painful. It can be a really painful thing. And because of that stuff, we have to keep working on it, and we have to keep going to different things and using a bunch of equipment, and that can be a lot of money and a lot of time where maybe we want to spend it on other things rather than laying on this thing that I got a couple days ago. I will show you. So some updates about my life. I've got a little foot lift. It goes in my shoe now, so I'm going to wear that until who knows how long. So I've got a cute little foot lift. And then I've got the old scully roll. Scully roll. This is for me in particular. It is for my scoliosis and kyphosis. This is going to work on some of my little squiggly wigglies. These things are a lot more expensive than you'd think they are. Expensive. Time. You know how much I have to sit on this thing? At least 3 times a day for like 20 to 30 minutes. That's a lot of time to be laying on the ground, and it hurts. But nonetheless, these are the things we just have as a tattooer that are slight inconveniences, or maybe a little bit very inconvenient. But this is what we got to do for our job to make sure that we can continue going. And as you may or may not know, depending on if you've seen any of my videos before, one of my biggest goals in life is to just see how long I can tattoo. I want to go as long as I possibly can because I love it so much, and I just want to forever. So anyways, the Scully roll. So number five is a really interesting one because for me, if someone asks me what my job is, I can't lie to them. I'm gonna tell them. I can't just like tell them I'm doing something else. And also, just by the way I'm looking, you'll probably guess that I'm a piercer or a tattooer, just by nature. So number 5 is we love our job. Wait, actually let me read this because I thought it was kind of funny. 1 second. So, I will talk tattoos till the day is done because I have a job that is just so dope. And it's true. So again, I will tell people honestly that I am a tattooer if they ask, and because of that, I don't usually love to go to things like parties or get-togethers because most of the time I'm usually just talking tattoos for forever. That can be very fun. I love my job. It's the coolest thing ever. It's the coolest and most special job that I could ever have in my entire life. I could never guess that I could enjoy this so much. But nonetheless, sometimes it's a little bit exhausting. Sometimes I want to go home, or sometimes I want to go to a party and just don't want to talk tattoos. So, knowing me, knowing I'll be honest, I will talk tattoos forever with people. Most of the time, if I go to get-togethers, it's usually consultations for the whole entire time. So sometimes that can be inconvenient, sometimes it can be tiring, and sometimes it can be a little tiring when people are always asking about my tattoos. Mainly because it's like the same 3. Ever. But it's great, and I love it, and I get it. Of course, if I look this way, people are going to ask questions, and I understand that. And that is okay, I get it. That's what I signed up for. Sometimes it's just a little bit exhausting, and just a little inconvenient, and that is all I'm saying. So number 6, weirdos online. So, because you're a tattooer, this is something that you might hear from other, like, kind of inconveniences of a tattooer, but I'm trying to be unique and interesting, okay? Social media can be hard, social media can be a lot, but it's very, very, very important for a job, especially right now in this time. It's just a thing that we gotta do. It's something that we get for clients. That's how people see us. That's our portfolios now, is online. It's Instagram, all of those types of things. And because of that, and because of what I've done in particular, I really like doing stuff online. I have gained enough of a following for enough weirdos to see me. And it is one of those things. It's just how it be, but sometimes it can get exhausting. And I'm not meaning critiques. I get critiques. Totally. It's gonna happen. Hate. Totally. I get it. It's gonna happen. People do that all of the time. But the weirdos, that's weird. That's inconvenient. That's not very fun. Weird people that say weird things that make you feel awkward. It's a little scary, a little like, oh, ooh. And being an online figure is also kind of one of those things. I said that so, like, cocky. Being a person that has some online stuff. Not even, like, as an online figure, but just an individual that chooses to be online is more or less what I'm trying to mean. Being online as a tattooer, or having a job that needs to have some type of social media and has a storefront, like mine does. I work in a shop, I work in a place, and people need to know where that place is. It's a good thing to have the address or knowing where that place is on your Google or on your thingy or on your Instagram or whatever, and people know where I work because I work at a shop. So, because of that, I do note, yeah, those weirdos online know the address of where I'm at almost all of the time. It's a thing that's kind of inconvenient for the brain, I suppose. It makes you think, and it's like, I'm there all the time. People know I'm there all the time. It doesn't matter if they know my car. It doesn't matter if anything, because they know where I work. And it's one of those things that you just kind of have to think about. So it's interesting, that's all. It's an interesting inconvenience that I just wanted to talk about, that's all. So, I've got 2 more today. Not too much. I guess it's a little bit more of a short form video, but I guess these next 2 I will do on my Scully roll, because I must do my Scully roll. Let us go. Maybe I'll put it more over here. Oh, this hurts to get it in such a weird spot. Okay, so number 7 is a very interesting inconvenience that I guess I don't hear that many people talking about, and it is we're working when people aren't working. So I've had all sorts of different discussions about, like, oh, when can you do this? When can you do that? When can you do this? And it's like, well, you have to give me 3 months because I'm scheduled out and I don't just have a weekends. And I hear of all sorts of different people saying, like, oh, well, why don't you just open your weekends? It's like, that'd be really cool. But there's a whole lot of people that don't work on weekends. So I probably should. So, with that said, I try to have some days off on the weekends whenever I can, but for me, I feel like it's more reasonable as a tattooer to make sure that I can schedule people when people aren't working. People have to work until 4, 5, 6 p.m., and then they ask, like, okay, well, do you work that late? It's like, yeah, sometimes I will, because sometimes people can't just get days off. You know, people are spending this much money going in to get tattooed by me to get something that, yeah, it's an expensive trade. It's something that is a luxury, absolutely, 100%. And because of that, people could take a day off, but that's that money that you need to, or in order to pay for this. Like, I get it. Like, if we have to do your day off because you want to make sure you can work fully, I get it, man. Like, I totally do. And it's one of the things, it's like, if you want to get in soon, and that's the only time I have is a time that you're working, and you don't want to take that because of that, it's like, well, then I can't do much. Because there is that balance, you know, there's a balance between both of the parts, and certain ways I can be real helpful and try to work when other people aren't working so that they can get in on a day off, or sometimes I just might not be able to do that. It is an inconvenience for kind of everyone sometimes, and that's just kind of how it is, but yeah, I work on times where all my friends tend to not be, unless they're tattooers, and a lot of my friends are tattooers, which is great, but it's also very hard to hang out with tattooers sometimes because their schedules are so whack. With that said, too, what about all my buddies that aren't tattooers? Well, their time that they're off, I'll probably be working. So it's one of those things that can be very inconvenient for what it is. I don't know if I said that this was number 7. This is number 7. Anyways, yeah. I don't know, it's weird. It's hard. So, number 8. This is our final one. And this is slices or inconvenient happenings to our hands, our forearms, or anything close to our kind of working stuff. Anything that could be exposed especially. So, if I get a real bad slice on my finger, well, sucks to suck, I'm not working. Not until that thing's healed. That's bleeding. No. Absolutely not. Getting sliced over here? Nope. Not working until that's healed. One of those things that we have to think about is making sure that our hands are good and that we're not doing too much. I'm really good at stabbing myself. Like, I'm incredibly good at stabbing myself with all sorts of tons of equipment. Just give me something, I'll find a way to accidentally stab myself. Not in a masochistic way, it's just I unfortunately am like that as a person. Unfortunate for me, too. I don't want to. But that's just how we are, and now we're here on the Scully roll. You know how things happen sometimes. But, you know, slicey little thingies, getting tattooed. Oh yeah, like I would love to finish this pathetic excuse for a tattoo. My palm. You can guess what it is. Take a guess. Take a gander. What do you think that is? Looks pretty ass. I want to fix that real bad. Guess what I can't do? Work for like a week after. What am I going to do? It hasn't been done in like almost 5 years because I'm a tattooer and I don't have that time to take off a week of tattooing for one palm tattoo and it's for me. Like, I can't do that. I'm very, very tempted to, before I go to Oregon, get a couple little blasters over here, try to finish this because I will actually have a significant of time off before I go to that expo. So that is a time, but that's like 5 years down the line. So it's one of those things that we have to be thoughtful of for different areas. Might not be very convenient to get a tattoo there because of doing your job and having to work with people's skin and other body parts. And blood is very scary. I do not want to have any liver issues. I like my liver how it is, so I need no hepatitis B or C. Doesn't sound very fun. Would rather not have AIDS. Personally, that does not sound like a big vibe. So, with that said, the little risky slices and stuff, that just totally gets in the way, and it's so inconvenient. But it is what it is. It do be like that. We out here. I'm sorry. I'm so, like, brain rotted in all sorts of capacities. But yeah. Scully roll. Anyways, that's that on that. Thanks for being here. Really appreciate it. I'll be hanging out, taking a nap right here for the next probably 20 minutes, and we'll go from there. Thanks for being around. Hopefully you see my face. I don't even know if you see my face right now, but I hope you do. And I hope that you have a good day. I really appreciate you being here. It's very, very nice of you. So thank you for being around. I would love if you have any other ideas of kind of inconveniences that you have had, especially if you're a tattooer. I would love to get some discussing in the comments down below and tell me your opinions on some of these things. Again, these are just like niche random ones that I feel like maybe people haven't told you about. Not the kind of basic ones like, yeah, social media is hard and you have to do it a lot. Clients can be weird sometimes. All sorts of inconveniences in their job. Supplies being incredibly expensive, all sorts of stuff like that, but I feel like a lot of people have heard that before, or I just want to bring out other ideas that maybe you haven't thought about. So, thanks for being here. Appreciate it. I hope that you have a good day. Thanks for sticking around. Thank you, and goodbye.